This video will show how classification data is entered into the SHIP database. It's designated for the classifiers to use as they prepare to enter raw data. So the first thing to do is go to the surreyship.org website. Once that's opened up, go over to the More menu at the far right and click Administration. The next pop-up will ask for a password, which is the administrator password. That will take you to the administrators page, and if you scroll down you'll come to the online database button here. So click on that and you'll get another login as it connects to the server, which is separate from the database. Okay, here's where you put in your specific account name and password that will be provided to you. So the account name is really just the name of the classifier, and you'll be sent a initial password to log in. Once you get both of those pieces in, click OK. Looks like I did that in error. So once I get the correct password, you'll be prompted to change the password, and this will be your own unique password, so whichever you choose to use. And then once you put in your new password twice, click the OK button. Okay, again I'm having trouble typing, so I'll try that again. Okay. Once you get the database open, it'll be on a page called the dashboard, and the person that logs in will automatically be taken to their own account. So your classifier information will appear in this drop-down. The dashboard has three windows of information. You'll see this first window is labeled pending applications. The second window is classification scheduled, and the third is classifications completed. So just allows at a glance to see what's going on with the farms that have requested a particular classifier. So for example, this pending applications, we see that there's two farms that have sent in applications, but they're not scheduled. Once they are scheduled with a confirmed date, then they'll move down into this section. But where we want to spend most of the time is the classifications completed. And what this shows are those farms that have been visited by the classifier. The classifier has collected all the data on the paper copies, and it's basically awaiting data entry. Except for this first example, you see the status is data locked, and that means that it has been entered into the database. If the status is data pending, like in these last three examples, that just means that the data is awaiting to be entered. So let's take this first data pending example. We'll click on this Go to Herd List button, And what that will do then is open another window with the particular animals for this particular farm that need to have data entered. So we see that the ranch name is listed here of the animals in question. We'll see that we have a whole list of alpacas here. We can scroll down this window and we see that there's quite a few that need to be entered in. So scroll back up to the top of the list and let's go to this first alpaca and click the Enter Scores button. This will take you to a form that looks very similar to the paper form, and it defaults to the confirmation data. So here you would just go down through, find your corresponding paper copy, and just start copying the information on over. There are drop downs here where you can select the score, and if there are some of the traits, there are additional drop downs for more information. So for example, if we gave this overall proportion a -1, we could come here and give a reason for that score. Perhaps it was a short body, and so that would be the scoring there. And you'll notice once that deduction was put into place, the total score is automatically corrected. So if there was another deduction with the head, for example, you can see that automatically gets subtracted. So what the classifier would do would be to work down through all the traits on confirmation, and then there's a button here that could take you directly to the fiber form, and you could do the same thing for the fiber scores. For example, luster, fineness, etc. Here you would go over to the right and select the score from the drop-down list there. So for example, if it was a luster of 4, we would just select 4, and so on all the way down through the end. And if you see, we get down to the bottom, there's an additional button. It says Review and Lock. So you would click this button, and it would take you to a screen then that would show all the scores that you've entered. Obviously, I didn't go through the whole list here, so it's not all complete. But if it were, and I was satisfied with the scores, I could hit this Lock Data button. If I needed to edit, I would just hit the edit, and it would go back to the particular form corresponding to that. So assume I've completed everything and I'm ready for data lock. So what I'll do is just click that button, and what it will do there is put a timestamp. It shows who the person was that locked it and the date and time that was done. And I'll go back to my list, and you'll see that the status changes to locked. And that just is a useful tool to help you as you're entering scores so that you know what you've done and what needs to be done. You notice the button here changes. Instead of entering scores, it changes to View Data, and you can go back and click that button at any time. It'll take you to the summary page. It also gives you a chance if you need to edit something later on. You cannot edit if the data is locked. So if I would click this button, this message will come up saying that the data is locked, that you must first unlock the data by clicking the unlock button. So what I would have to do is click unlock. Now it'll let me go in and do an edit, and I can go back on that form. At any time I can scroll up to the top of the page and select any additional menu items up here. I could go back to the herd list, I could go directly to the fiber form, or I could go to review and lock, or I could go back to the classifier dashboard. Let's just go back to the herd list, and you can see that the status has changed now because I didn't relock the data at this point in time. So once I'm done with this particular farm, I can go back to the classifier dashboard by clicking the button up at the top left. Again, that takes me back, and I can see I'm back to my classification completed, and then I can go on to another farm and enter the scores there. So that is really all there is to it. If you wanted to go select another classifier, you can do that up here, and it'll show the farms or ranches that this particular classifier is responsible for. You can come down here, see that data was locked on this one farm, but it's not completed on the others. So